Good afternoon. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a little vertically gifted and this mic is short, so I'll try my best to get a little louder. I want to thank Lewis and the Bartow GOP for inviting me. This is a great opportunity for you to get out and hear and learn a lot about these candidates. Apparently you all coordinated your outfits tonight, so you're ready to go. You have a lot of people up here who you respect and who you want to hear from. So we'll do our best to make sure that we are fair. I know we got a lot of loved ones and strong supporters out there. You want to make sure your person does well. So we'll do our best to get their message out today and be fair as possible. I want to start off by letting folks know the rules. We're going to keep to them, try to keep the time going. I have someone down here who has a small gong. You will hear that. If you go too long, or maybe not a gong, but he may holler at you a little bit. But just so the candidates know, the time will be strictly adhered to. Now, starting off with the tax commissioner's race, we got a couple of concerns that maybe no one knows what a tax commissioner is. So we're going to give you a 2-minute introduction. And during that 2-minute introduction, if you could say what you think the role of tax commissioner is in Bartow County, and then go on and tell us a little bit about yourself. And we'll start with Ms. Vicki Beck.
Hi, I am Vicki Beck. I am the daughter of Irby and Jean Wilson Tatum. I have been married to John Beck for 39 years. On the campaign trail, I have been asked what my plan to do as tax commissioner. My response has been that I will see that every employee is fully trained and that each one has a command of all new tax laws. I plan to implement an express tag renewal window to cut down on the waiting time for customers who need a tag renewal only. When I've been asked about satellite offices, split tax billing, and extending office hours, my response is that these ideas are just too expensive to even consider in these tough economic times. I started working as a teller, and I have always strived to see that every customer is treated with respect and that they received prompt and courteous service. I plan on bringing that same customer service outlook to the office of tax commissioner. I can assure you as citizens of Bartow County that I will not have any outside interest that would keep me from being on the job. Do not be surprised when you come into the office and you see me running the front line. I will lead my office by example. You will get a full day's work for the pay. I will be at work and I will be ready to serve the people of this great county. And as tax commissioner, my responsibility is to collect the taxes for the county, for homes and for automobiles. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you, and I ask for you to check back on July the 31st.
Thank you. Next, we'll have Mr. Chuck Holt.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell. The duties of the tax commissioner are just that, to collect the taxes and to administrate the office, the staff of the other 18 individuals that are working there in the tag department and the property tax division. My goals for the department are quite simply this, to make it work very efficiently. I'm the only candidate coming from private industry, and I believe that the techniques that are used in private industry that make us flourish in these tough economic times can be carried to the tax department also. I've had hundreds of people ask me throughout the years, why can't the government work more like business? And I considered that when I decided to run for office. Why can't the government work more like business? Why can't it be more efficient? Why can't it be more friendly? Why can't customer service treat you the way you need to be treated? And I believe it can be done. I too believe that we need to be fiscally responsible. So all these ideas that you hear, the campaign promises that we're going to do, all of that has to be balanced with what the costs are to the taxpayers. And I'll never forget that. Again, I'll never forget that I work for you. And my first responsibility is to take care of that staff, make sure the staff understands that they work for you also. Thank you for this time, and I appreciate this opportunity. And I need your vote on July 31st.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we'll have Ms. Judy Kilgore.
My name is Judy Kilgore. and I have served Bartow County for 20 years in the tax system. I first started out with Jack Nally back in 1992 after my job in banking relocated to Atlanta, Georgia. I got a phone call from Jack, and he says, "Judy, I understand you're looking for a job," and that's how my employment began with Bartow County. But as Mr. Bell asked about what is the tax commissioner's responsibility, well, it is very diverse, let me tell you. Not only do you collect taxes on automobiles, trailers, RV vehicles, everything, but property, airplanes, any business owner, but you also disperse those taxes to our governing agents, the state and our local government and our schools. You also work in the preparation of the digest, and that is all the properties that is compiled in Bartow County, whether it's boat, business, airplane, or real estate, any type of commercial property. And that is complex in itself. It takes several weeks to get it balanced and then to send it out to get the property tax bills created. And then you do the billing. And everybody loves to get that tax bill in the mail, I know. We've sent out about 40-something thousand tax assessment notices from the tax assessor's office where I now currently work. And it is in my job now where I meet the residents of Bartow County. They've sat in my office and they've told many of their stories about how the economy has affected them. Many has lost jobs. Many have lost their industry due to the housing market crashing. Many has, it's just unreal how the people in Bartow County has suffered through loss of jobs. But as I answer your question, I am Judy Kilgore, and I have 2 beautiful daughters, 4 beautiful grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Steve Stewart.
Is this thing on? Okay. Hey, I'm Steve Stewart, and I would like to I'd like to thank the local GOP for having us here. YXC Radio for airing this program, and all you in the audience for coming. I am Steve Stewart, and I'm a candidate for tax commissioner. I'm the son of the late Eddie and Billy Stewart. I'm a lifelong resident of Bartow County. I married my high school sweetheart, Connie Stewart. We've been dating since the 10th grade. We've been married for 27 years now. She's the daughter of Gary Howard and Donna Howard and Joyce Morris. We have 2 beautiful children, Aaron Stewart, 22, and Ellie Stewart, 24. And we've got a new daughter-in-law, Hannah Perry Stewart now. It's hard to get used to saying that, but I've been with Bartow County now for 25 years. I wear a lot of hats for the county. I've been, primarily, I'm the facility manager for 7 different buildings here in the county. That gets me to work every morning at 7 o'clock, making sure we're running diagnostic checks and making sure everything's running properly. I also am over customer service, and I have been over customer service for the last 20 years for Bartow County for every department. So there's not a problem I haven't ran across that I can't handle. And it is that separates me from the rest of the candidates. I'm a department head for the county. I've been working on budgets my whole career. I have also been a project manager for such projects as the 2 senior centers, the 1903 Dome Courthouse, the reconstruction of that project, and also this beautiful facility here that came in, early and under budget. I mean, I have a proven history of excellent service for the county.
Hi.
Thank you, Mr. Stewart. Now we're going to go into the question phase. I want to remind everyone that the questions were provided by you, the audience, as submitted to the Bartow County GOP. As moderator, I have taken some liberty to add some questions that were not added by the audience, just to try to focus the questions a little bit. I've had the luxury and the privilege of working with your sole commissioner, Clarence Brown, a little bit. Unfortunately, I'm from a county where there's 5 of us instead of 1, so he's definitely got a sweet deal here in Bartow. I know you will miss him dearly. We're going to start off by asking questions. Someone's going to deal with the budget. As a commissioner sitting from my seat, I'm kind of asking some questions that relate to you as department heads, and we'll go in the order of which we did the introductions, and then we'll switch it in reverse. So the first question I'm going to ask to Ms. Vicki Beck. First question is, what is your first response plan to deal with the change in the law of the birthday ad valorem tax? What is your first response plan to deal with the change in the law of the birthday ad valorem tax, the recent state law that just changed?
My first response would be that each and every employee has a full understanding of the new tax law. This tax law goes into effect March the 1st, 2013 on all new purchased vehicles. If you're currently paying ad valorem tax on your vehicles, you will continue to do that on a yearly basis. But when you purchase a new vehicle, you will pay the ad valorem tax up front. You will pay 6.4% in 2013, 6.75% 2014, and 7% in 2015. And this will be paid up front. And it will be my responsibility to see that the employees of our office fully understand and know this law. Thank you.
Thank you, and remind the candidates that you have 90 seconds to answer the questions. Mr. Chuck Holt, the same question to you. Let me know if you need me to repeat it.
I think I've got it. The law does take effect in March of this 2013. And the biggest problem we're going to face with that is communicating to you, the citizens of Bartow County, what the law means and how it's going to affect you. It'll be implemented in the department. Now, that will not be a problem. But there's some facets to the law that will slow down the process possibly. And we don't want wait times to build up for you, the citizens. So some recommendations you might consider is if you have not changed your vehicles any, you may try to use the mail service to send your tag request in, let us process it, send it back to you so you don't get caught in the lines or spend your time coming back and forth. But basically the law will be this: if you purchase a new vehicle in 2013, you'll pay the upfront ad valorem tax or tag title fee. Instead of sales tax, you'll pay that. If you bought a vehicle in 2012, you have the option to go into that particular program. Otherwise, you'll still pay ad valorem tax just like you do. The other facet that will affect you is on individual sales, you will have to pay the title tag fee also. So keep that in mind, and as tax commissioner, will be active in using all the media and meetings and all of that to try to relay this information to you, the citizens, so that we can service you promptly and courteously, and you'll have a pleasant experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kilgore.
Well, I thought I would educate myself on this new law, so I called the state of Georgia last week. I took a half-a-day furlough, so I called the state of Georgia. After staying on hold for about 15 or 20 minutes, I got a young girl named Virginia, and I asked her about it, and I asked her if she knew any of the elements about it. She says, well, no, ma'am, we don't. We haven't been to training yet. I did find out that training schedule is set up for November. All the young ladies who work in the window, the tag agents, they will be well read when they open that blind that day. I can remember back in '92 when I went to work for Bartow County. 1993 was when our state legislatures decided that we would collect sales tax on automobiles. When that window was raised on January the 1st, I can tell you one thing. I had young women cry. I had older men cuss me out. And I'm hoping that this will not be the same situation. A year later, they refunded all the sales tax that they collected the prior year. So when legislatures are making these rules and laws, it would be real important if they would just talk to the people who work in those offices and let it know how it affects us on the ground level. It's hard. We're having hard economic times, and I think this is just another burden. But we'll make it through, and we'll do what we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart.
I too, like you, have called the Department of Revenues, and they have no answers. I didn't have to quite wait 15 minutes, but and I talked to the girls in the the ladies in the tax office and the staff daily. They don't have any answers either. The trainings in the end of November will all be trained at the same time. the parts that are cut and dry is the Avalorem one time 6.5. It's going to cap out at 9%. Outside of that, it's a wait and see game. And I know you as commissioner have got to have some concerns with this thing as well.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Stewart, you're going to start back the second question. You get to go first this time, so you have to wait till the end. This is a question that was submitted to the Bartow County GOP. Are you willing to work to reduce the Freeport tax to zero?
The Freeport tax, for those of you who don't know, is an inventory tax, and it's got many other facets in it and some new legislation this time. I think that we get passed over as a county because we're not 100% exempt. I mean, that's a red flag for any industry that wants to come. They won't even look at us because we're not 100%. At the same time, can we afford to let it go? I think probably the answer would be yes, because with the industry we will get after going to 100% Freeport will be enough to make up these costs and more. We're just missing out on so much industry as it, because of the Freeport tax being not at 100%.
All right, thank you. Now we'll go to Ms. Kilgore.
Freeport tax is like an exemption. Anytime someone gets out of line, someone else has to carry the burden. But I do believe if just 20% is going to hold us back from getting jobs and companies wanting to relocate to Bartow County, then I think we should do it. I spoke to a man the other day. I was in one of our local stores shopping, and he said, my feet are hurting and my back is giving out. And I said, well, I'm sorry, at least you have a job. And he says, ma'am, he says, I'm a pipe fitter and I've worked in construction. And he was running like a cash register at one of these little local stores. He said, I would be embarrassed for my friends to see me here today. And I said, well, I'm so sorry. And I said, that's one reason why we need to bring jobs back to Bartow County. And we've got to get our housing industry going again. We have so many vacant lots in Bartow County, and I just look forward to our new county commissioner, whoever that may be, to bring these jobs back to Bartow County, and let's get our community back to work so that they can provide our monies for our schools and everything. So if it takes that 20% coming off, then I say, let's do it, people, and let's get Bartow back to work.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Holt.
To answer the question, I would say quite simply, yes. When I look at Bartow County and I look at all the natural resources, people, the position it's in along I-75, and I think we need to have industry here. The only way we can get out of this economic troubles that we are in is to put people to work, take the burden off of the homeowners and put it back on business so that we can collect these taxes that we need. If Freeport's standing in the way of that, it's a very small payback for what it's costing the people of Bartow County. It's time to end that program. It's time for that tax to go away so that we can grow business, put people back to work, take the burden off the taxpayers on their property values, and put it back on businesses so we can have revenues to fund the schools, we can fund government, we can keep the services going. It's a small tax. Its time has come. It needs to go away. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Beck?
Yes. This has got to be a no-brainer because we've lost business coming to Bartow County because of this Freeport tax. And I would say that we need to have this removed. We've got to, because our county depends on it to get good paying jobs in here for our citizens. We need this, and I would just pray that our new county commissioner would see that this would be done, that this Freeport tax would end, so that we can be competitive with Floyd County, Gordon County, and Cherokee County, with those surrounding counties that do not have the Freeport tax. This is a must for Bartow County.
Thank you. And now we'll move to the final question for the candidates. I want to somewhat preface this question as each of you will be treated as a department head. If you do assume the office of tax commissioner, you'll submit your budget every year to your County Commissioner, and this is what this question relates to. We'll start off the question. We'll first go to Mr. Holt, then to Ms. Kilgore, then to Ms. Beck, and we'll finish with Mr. Stewart in that order. The question is, do you feel the budget of the Tax Commissioner's office is currently too big or too small? Help us understand what your proposal for the Tax Commissioner's office will look like after your first year in office.
Thank you. I would say at this time, I think the budget is correct for that department, and I'll explain that because you have a department that's shrunk from 22 people down to 18 through attrition, and of the 18 people there, they furlough 12 days a year, and that's without pay. At the same time, the county's not gotten smaller. The workload will increase. The new ad valorem system that we're going to implement will increase the workload. So we cannot afford to lose any more personnel in that department because the taxes collected in that department are what the school systems run off of. They're what the county government runs off of. So it's a very vital department to keep staffed and to keep operating. I have some ideas on how to make it work more efficiently, and I think I'm one of the only candidates up here that would say that. I know that the tax commissioner receives some personal compensation for processing municipal taxes, and I have proposed several times in the past that that money be used in the department to help fund training, to help fund equipment, and to put in a bonus situation, which is being done by other tax commissioners in the state, to help pay the people for what they're doing and reward them and treat them with, respect them for what they do, because they're the face you see when you come into the department. They're the voice you talk to on the phone, and they're the ones that do the work. They should share in that benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kilgore.
If I'm elected the new tax commissioner for Bartow County, we do work off of the previous year's tax commissioner's budget. And looking over that, just as Chuck has said, it's probably just right for the time being. I did look through it and I saw that there was very limited amount that does go to training. And in talking to some of the girls in there, it seems that some of their equipment is kind of old. And even talking to our IT department guy today, he said that some of the support is not even, the machines are old to where they don't carry the support. It would probably cost more to do that than to replace the machine. So as things break with Bartow County, we're replacing things, but we have been under a really tight restraint about spending money, unnecessary money, so we have to wait until things break. Can you remember when your mom would say, you're just going to have to do with what you've got? So, but hopefully in the future that if we can get Bartow back moving, and these things can be implemented, and sometimes it just takes overlooking the budget. And I work with a digest, and there's some money spent right there to where we pay an outside firm to review the digest and all. I think I have enough hands-on experience to where we could even delete that little line item, and if not, maybe reduce it. But I do have the experience to do that. And I look forward to it, and like I say, we do have a county administrator that would help in times where you would have a problem or an issue.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Beck.
The budget for the tax commissioner's office this year is $1.2 million. And you have 18 people, and the payroll for this year is $670,000. I cannot see that this would need to increase in the coming years. I can see that we would need to keep this under control, but we're also going to have to consider that the new title tax law is going to change how we take money in on a yearly basis. This money is going to be paid up front when people buy their automobiles. So it's not going to be that you can go back and you can look over a year and see what your income is in the office. But you're going to have this new title tax law that's going to change those numbers. So we're going to have to be very, very careful in staying in budget and not overspending when we get an influx of the money that new car purchases might bring in that first year or that second year. But we've got to spread that money out over time. And it's going to be very important to watch the budget with this new title tax, because it's going to change the income that comes into the office. and we will need to be very careful in how we spend our money. I know that the ladies now, they don't even have notepads. They have to take and cut paper up. So I know that the office is running very close.
Hi.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, give a round of applause to your Bartow County Tax Commissioner candidates. I forgot about you. You sure you want to answer this question?
Save the best for last.
You get the extra millisecond. There you go.
Okay. As the other candidate said, it is a $1.2 million budget. There is no room, and I can tell you, speaking from a department head for 25 years, that we are lean throughout the county. As Chuck alluded to, we have 12 days furlough a year. And the office runs efficiently. We do have some technology problems, honestly, that needs to be corrected. But outside of that, that office runs lean. I can promise you that.
Well, before we let you go, we have a little extra time, so I'm going to let you start off and give a 1-minute closing as to why everyone out here should vote for you.
I really don't have a closing. I would just like to take my time to thank everybody for coming. I would also like to thank the candidates for running a very clean race thus far. We've had a great time. We've been helpful to each other. I would just like to ask at this time for your vote and your support. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Kilgore, 1-minute closing.
I'm like Steve. I just want to thank everyone for coming out tonight. And I look out in this audience and I just see so many friends and old acquaintances and new friends that I've met along the campaign trail. And I just want to thank you for the opportunity to even run for tax commissioner. I do ask for your vote and your support on July the 31st, or early vote tomorrow if you'd like. But I do. If you ever have a problem in Bartow County, I do want you to know that my door is always open now. If you have a question about ad valorem tax, just give me a call. Check my website out at judykilgore.com to find out more about me. Thank you so much for coming out.
Mr. Holt?
Yes, I'd like to thank you too for coming out tonight. This has been a great process. Met a lot of great Bartow County citizens. They're very active, they're very involved, they want the best out of their government agents. And I want to represent Bartow County as the tax commissioner because I think I can bring integrity, hard work, dedication, and focus to that office, or I wouldn't be running. I have a job. I'm not running to increase my retirement. I'm not running to change positions in the government. I'm running because I've heard hundreds of people say, why can't the government run like business? I think it can, but I need your vote. July 31st, or as Judy said, tomorrow, you can vote for me. And I will give you my very best, and you can trust me, and you will know that I will be honest, dependable, and hardworking for Bartow County. Thank you.
Not going to forget anybody. Ms. Beck?
Thank you. As my sign says, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. God is my Father. I believe in the holy, inerrant Word of God. I believe in the Constitution of the United States, and I believe in the Constitution of the state of Georgia, and I will uphold all three. And I ask for your vote on July the 31st, or like they say, tomorrow. Thank you.
Let's try this again. Give them a round of applause.